77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
Excuse me! Taxi!
Come on, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And let's go to Washington and get Victoria Coates. Is she on yet?
No, she's going to be joining us in a moment. And I can't wait to get her take, obviously, John, on what happened with China and President Trump and to get her take.
She has pretty good take on things.
She does.
And I want to hear her opinion.
And also on Taiwan, too, because it was interesting. General Keane was talking about this earlier, you guys. And one of the things that he brought up was the very strident language that China put out about Taiwan. And we understand we got Victoria Coates now, you guys, former Deputy National Security Advisor. Victoria, what did you make of sort of the readouts or the comments from first President Trump about China, and then China putting out their statement was only about Taiwan?
Well, good to be with you, Rita. Yes, I mean, Taiwan is obviously top of mind for Beijing, and they want movement from the United States on Taiwan. And all credit to President Trump for just holding his ground and saying, we're going to do what we're going to do. There's not going to be any change in the United States position. We retain our strategic ambiguity. We do not support any changes to the status quo across the strait. And, we'll see what happens with this $12 billion arms package that's, on the table for Taiwan. And I would say we should fill that. They want to pay for it. They want to buy our arms. There's no prohibition on doing that. And it's a fraction of what China's spending on their military rebuilding. So I think we'll get through tomorrow. We'll see, what kind of deals can be made that are in the best interests of both our countries. But I don't really see President Trump budging here at all.
Well, I could see China's point. We're telling them don't sell any arms to Iran, and they're telling us don't sell any arms to Taiwan.
It's a little different. I would differ between Iran and Taiwan.
I might talk back a little bit on that one too.
Yeah,
we didn't make any
Iran it's a terrorist state.
Right, but Taiwan is not. That's the point.
And we didn't object to anything China was selling Iran over the last couple of years. I mean, unless it was in violation of UN sanctions. And so, they've supplied them all sorts of stuff. They didn't listen to us. And now we're in a state of war with Iran. I think, we are saying that we don't think that's a good idea. But, I think it's very different from Taiwan.
Well, and they said they're going to cooperate on opening up the Strait of Hormuz, and I think Iran has to listen to them.
Oh, absolutely they do, because if that's really the only lifeline to Iran is China, and China needs those molecules on the market. If you look, they have the world's largest oil reserve, John. It's exponentially bigger than anyone else's because they have the greatest vulnerability. And they've been drawing that down. And a lot of their economy depends on these so-called teapot refiners. They're called teapots. They're kind of in that shape for reasons I'm not qualified to explain, but that's what kind of shape they are. So the teapot refiners depend on the inexpensive crude, first from Venezuela, then from Iran. Now, first Venezuela was cut off, now Iran is cut off. So all that cheap energy isn't coming in anymore. They're drawing down their reserves. They have a limited amount of time, even with that big reserve.
Victoria, I actually have an interesting point that I heard Scott Bessent say today. He brought up that satellite imagery he was saying is showing that it looks like they're not able to export from Karg Island, where all this is getting back to Iran, but it's all obviously interrelated. Mm-hmm. That the satellite is showing that they're not able to move their ships. And he said he believes that they're days away, that they are just overflowing and they're going to have to shut down there in Karg Island within days. That would be huge.
No, and he probably knows Scott Bessent does what he's talking about. So literally the lights are going off. They're starting to have to ration their electricity, so they can't keep their facilities open. And things are starting to back up. We're seeing oil slicks in the Gulf spilling out of God only knows where. It's a mess. And so, rather than listen to the New York Times, who says, they have all of their missile capacity back. Well, do they? Why aren't they firing it off? I don't think that's true. I think they're in a terrible, terrible place, and we should let the president stay the course.
And why is the New York Times doing it?
Because they're being fed this by the people in the deep state who don't want this to happen. They've argued against it during President Trump's first term. I heard it directly. We should never do this to Iran. They're reasonable. They don't want a nuclear weapon. We can get to a deal with them. These people were all still there. We fired the ones we could find, but the rest of them burrowed in. And they were very, very busy during the Biden administration. Now they're still there leaking classified information to the New York Times and the Washington Post. And the president says he's going to hunt them out, and I hope he does.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Victoria, what do you make of, China says they're not going to sell military weapons to Iran. Now, we know there's been reports they had the ship that already got stopped, the U.S. says, full of weapons that were already there. And Ed was talking about sort of these dual use, obviously, like kind of what they do with Russia. It happens to be, I didn't know you could use that, Tomahawk missile for anything else other than a decoration.
For mowing the lawn.
Right, for mowing your lawn, Do you see them obviously trying to skirt around that? I have no doubt they're going to try. They seem to have already been trying.
Oh, of course. It's a washing machine. Oh, it's an intercontinental ballistic missile. Oh, shocking. No, these things happen all the time. It's the same motors. It's the same component parts. They can take them apart. They can use them for other things. None of this is surprising. But the point is that the president goes in there and is very, very straight with Chairman Xi about what we will and what we will not tolerate. And the really important thing here is, we can avoid a conflict with communist China, which is the most important thing. That would be disastrous. If we look at the economic pain we're taking over a small conflict with Iran, we don't want a conflict with China. And so how about we say to them, look, we can help you with your legitimate needs in, say, energy. You can become an energy customer of us. Might be a little bit more expensive, but we're a lot more reliable than some of your other partners. Maybe we can build some kind of transactional arrangements that way with commodities, not things that have military uses. But otherwise, I don't trust them very much.
Yeah, I think that's the word to the wise for sure. Victoria, thank you so much, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump, for your great insights. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Boy, this is getting interesting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Another big day. Thanks, guys.